Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are finally getting into it, the device you've all been asking about. Amazon's first big swing at a color e-reader, the Kindle Scribe Colorsoft.
It really is a big swing. They've taken their largest e-ink screen, added color, and this is the key part, a whole suite of AI note-taking features. This isn't just about reading anymore.
No, it's about productivity. But let's get right to the elephant in the room. We're talking about a starting price of $629.99.
Exactly. I mean, that's the number that stops everyone in their tracks.
It has to. That puts it right up against, a base model iPad Air, which is actually cheaper.
Right. So our mission for this deep dive is to figure out if it's worth it. We're going to break down if this new color e-ink is actually good, what the AI really does for you, and whether this thing offers enough value to pull you away from its competitors.
Okay, let's start right there with the tech that drives that price. Color e-ink. We've seen attempts at this for years, and frankly, they've been pretty underwhelming.
They have. Things like the old Triton displays were, let's just say, muted.
So does the color on the Scribe Colorsoft finally look good? And how did they even pull it off?
It's a breakthrough, for sure, but it's one that comes with some serious trade-offs. They're using what's called an e-ink Kaleido 3 display.
Kaleido 3, okay.
And you have to remember, just getting basic e-ink to work took almost 2 decades of research. Color is the next massive hurdle.
And there's an unavoidable compromise baked into the technology, isn't there? Something you just have to accept to get that color.
Exactly. This is the core user trade-off. The way it works is they place a color filter array, a CFA, right on top of the standard black and white e-ink layer.
Like a colored film over the screen.
Sort of, yeah, a microscopic one. It lets the screen show 4096 colors. And this Kaleido 3 version is about 30% more saturated, so the colors are definitely better than before.
But there's always a but. What's the cost of that filter?
Resolution. Sharpness. This is the key. When you're reading plain black and white text, the screen is a crisp 300 pixels per inch, or PI, standard high-end Kindle stuff.
Which looks great.
It does. But the second you view anything with color, an image, a graph, a comic book, the resolution gets cut in half.
Yeah.
Down to 150 ppi.
Wait, cut in half. So if I'm looking at a detailed diagram in a textbook, I'm losing 50% of the detail.
You are. That's the compromise you make for color with today's tech.
Sure.
And it leads to another problem. That color filter layer, it actually makes the screen darker.
Darker?
How?
Well, it's sitting on top, so it physically absorbs some of the ambient light before it hits the e-ink. The screen ends up looking, a bit gray compared to a standard Kindle.
So that core promise of e-ink easy reading in bright light is kind of undermined then.
It is. In fact, Amazon all but admits it. They say if you want the crispest black and white, you should stick with their monochrome readers.
Wow.
Which means the built-in front light is no longer a nice to have. It's essential. To get decent colors or even a comfortable gray background, you need that light on, probably at 40% brightness or more. So you're basically buying an e-reader that needs its light on all the time. That's a huge mental shift.
Okay, let's pivot to what Amazon is really betting on here. The writing and the new AI features.
Right. And the hardware itself is, it's very impressive. It's incredibly thin, has that big 11-inch screen.
Right.
But the writing experience, that's where people are blown away.
The reviews all rave about that pencil on paper feel. How do they do that?
It's a special texture they built right into the glass. It adds just enough friction, just enough drag, so it doesn't feel like you're just sliding plastic across a slippery screen. It really does feel like writing.
And it's fast. No lag.
Amazon says it's 40% faster, thanks to a new chip. And the pen, this is a big deal, it uses EMR tech, so it never needs to be charged.
That's a huge convenience. One less thing to worry about.
It is. And even with all that, the battery life is still quoted in weeks, not hours. Up to 2 weeks of mixed use, they say.
Okay, now for the AI. The smarter part of the Scribe. What can their Nova models actually do for you as a student or a professional? They're focused on 2 main pain points: messy notes and finding information. The first feature is AI summarization.
Okay.
You can take pages and pages of your own handwritten notes, press a button, and the AI converts it all into a clean, concise, bullet point summary.
That's actually incredibly useful. It's turning your raw brain dump into organized information.
Precisely. And the second feature is called refinement. This is for everyone with terrible handwriting.
So everyone?
Pretty much. It takes your messy scrawl and converts it into a neat, legible script font. It still looks like handwriting, but it's perfectly readable and easy to share.
And you can get these notes off the device, right? It's not a walled garden.
They're working on it. You can already export directly to Microsoft OneNote, and they've announced Google Drive and OneDrive support is coming. That part is crucial.
It sounds great on paper, but this is Amazon. There has to be some friction, some kind of ecosystem lock-in.
And there is. The biggest complaint is the software interface itself.
Yeah.
Compared to something like the Remarkable 2, which is super minimalist and clean, the Kindle's organization is often described as cluttered.
And the big one, getting your own content onto it. If I bought an ebook or a comic from somewhere else, how hard is that?
That's where it gets really frustrating, especially for color content. You can't just drag and drop a comic file over USB. Half the time it won't even open, or it'll just show up in black and white.
Seriously, on a $600 color device?
Yeah, it highlights the whole problem. To get, say, an old comic you own onto the device, you have to download a separate open source program called the Kindle Comic Converter.
A third-party program? You're kidding!
I'm not. You have to run your files through this program, set specific outputs for the scribe, sometimes even chunk the file into smaller pieces, and then use the Send to Kindle website to get it on there.
That is unbelievably convoluted compared to a Kobo where you just plug it in and drag the file over.
It's the difference between a closed system and an open one. And after all that work, the comics look nice. That's the word everyone uses. It's like reading a comic on newsprint, not glossy paper. You need the front light way up.
Okay, so let's put it all together in the competitive landscape.
Yeah.
If you're a learner trying to decide where to spend your money, how does the Scribe stack up?
I think you have to see the Scribe Colorsoft for what it is. It's the Cadillac of Kindles. It's for someone who is already deep inside the Amazon world and wants that premium writing feel on top of it.
But its biggest rival is probably the Onyx Books Note Air 4C, right? Which is cheaper.
Right. The Onyx book starts around $530, and its main advantage is just pure flexibility. It runs Android.
So you get the Google Play Store.
You get the whole thing. You can install whatever apps you want, and it has expandable storage. The trade-off is that it's not as slickly integrated with Amazon Store, and the pen is usually extra.
Then you have the minimalist option, the Remarkable 2.
The Remarkable 2 is all about focus. No browser, no apps, just writing and reading. Its software for organizing notebooks and PDFs is just better, cleaner, more intuitive.
And no backlight.
No backlight at all. And some find the writing just a tiny bit more sluggish than the Scribe.
And finally, the iPad Air. For the same money, why not just get a device that does everything?
Because the iPad is a completely different experience. It's for media, for power, for vibrant color. But it's also a backlit LCD screen. It's not e-ink. You're going to get eye strain after a few hours of reading.
And the battery life is measured in hours, not weeks.
Not even close. You get maybe 10 hours. It's a whole different ballgame.
So to synthesize it all, the Scribe Colorsoft is this premium niche device. It has the best writing feel and some genuinely cool AI tricks, but you're paying a high price for it and you're getting locked into Amazon's world.
That's the summary, yeah. If you live and breathe Amazon and you take a lot of notes, it's a really interesting piece of tech. But if you value flexibility or just clean, simple organization, the competitors probably offer you better value.
So it's a fascinating device that's trying to bridge that gap between reader and tablet. The color helps. The AI is a legitimate step forward, especially for learners.
But that writing feel, at the end of the day, that seems to be its single biggest, undeniable advantage over almost everyone else.
You know, that raises a really interesting thought. If the new AI features can summarize and even clean up your own messy handwriting for you.
Yeah.
I mean, the device is now handling the organization and the legibility. The computer is doing the hard work of making sense of your notes. So does that mean the raw, physical feel of writing, that smooth friction of the stylus on the glass, does that become the single most important, most human feature left in the e-writer market? Maybe that tactile sensation is the one thing the AI can't replicate. Something for you to think about.